area yet because they're afraid we might catch them putting the dots on the mailbox and they wouldn't get back to their home at night, you know, if we catch them. But it's time to prepare, folks. It's time to prepare. It's time to work like we're going to win, which we are, but it's also time to prepare like you may lose temporarily. So I'm going to tell all of you, if you have not bought ammunition, if you have not bought guns, go get them now. Go get them now, because you won't be able to get them much longer. We got Bush and Cheney and Osama bin Laden in the Carlyle group together, and guess what they're doing? They're buying up all the American ammunition companies that make ammo in America. The Carlyle group's buying them up so that you and I can't get any ammunition. So go out and get your ammunition now and get your weapons now before you can't get them anymore, folks. Things are moving very rapidly. Now, we're either going to win it soon or we're going to lose it soon. Either one. But I think we're going to win it. Don't you agree? Praise the Lord. And I've got to get down from here, but I want to leave you with one of my most favorite quotes from Samuel Adams. And you probably heard this one and remember it. He said, "If you love wealth better than liberty, and tranquility of servitude better than animated context of freedom, go home from us in peace. We ask not your counsel or your arms. Crouch down and lick the hands and the feet of those that feed you. May your chains set lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were ever our countrymen." Hallelujah. God bless all of you. God bless America. We're going to take it back.
It has been said that when in the course of human events, an oppression so revolts its subjects that it becomes necessary to alter or abolish the means of that tyranny. Is it that time when our Bill of Rights is defiled every day? When our adventures abroad threaten our security at home? When the Federal Reserve keeps our free nation enslaved by debt? When the people of the world tremble under the thumb of corporate imperialism? And now, our nation is drifting dangerously from freedom to fascism. So I have to ask, is it time? The time is now. The threat is clear. The bands of tyranny are tightening around America, and it is our duty to resist. As empowered patriots, let us take stock of our commitment to the ideals upon which this country was founded. America without her freedoms is like a body without a soul. The challenge before the freedom movement is no less than to bring about a revolution of values, inspire a renaissance of American politics, and breathe new life into the tortured body of our nation. We will meet that challenge with courage and love, and as always, we the people will prevail. To rally the troops of the Revolutionary Army in the winter of 1776, Thomas Paine said, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. As Iraq veterans against the war, we are resisting an occupation we once risked our lives for. We swore to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, but we found out the hard way that the greatest enemies of the Constitution are not to be found in the sands of some far-off land, but rather right here at home."
The last thing I want to talk about today is this, okay? Like a couple of years ago, from what I understand from my television over there, is that, you know, George Bush signed into law a thing called the Patriot Act. And even though it takes away our freedoms a little bit, you know something, it keeps us safe, okay? And safety is okay because, you know, if I lose a little bit of my, you know, freedoms to be secure and safe, then my government knows what's best for me, and I have to trust them, because after all, my life is in their hands. Don't you agree?
I look at it this way: we're losing our rights because of the Patriot Act. I would rather, and as I say in my book, and I'm so crass to say, give me liberty or give me death.
I'm with you.
I would rather take my chances with terrorism than to lose my individual rights, which are vanishing every day.
The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, is important to a lot of Americans. Why do you think that is?
Well, the founders were very clear about it, and the assumption went without saying that everybody can have a gun to go out hunting because everybody was a hunter, but they wanted to be explicit that individuals owned guns because they never wanted to have the populace disarmed. Matter of fact, they encouraged and they believed that each community and each state would have a militia, which was just a group of people who could be called up in an emergency to be deputized for protection. But the gun really was, that Second Amendment was provided, ironically, and a lot of people don't understand this, but it was to protect against abuse of government, because they needed guns to protect against the abuse of the king. So they saw the Second Amendment as very, very important. And if you think about it, you know, the lack of respect for the Second Amendment is in the areas of our country that needs the Second Amendment the most. And this is, to me, so discriminatory, and that's in our inner cities. You go to the inner cities where there's the most crime, and yet if you're a law-abiding citizen, you're not allowed to defend against the crime. So you're not allowed to have a gun in the inner city. So this, to me, is discriminatory. And, of course, there's a lot of laws against guns and drugs, and yet you have more violence in so many inner cities. So I think respect for the Second Amendment would go a long way to helping cut down on the violence and the killing of innocent people in many of our inner cities throughout the country.
Gun ownership allows for two main things, the first of which is that it offers protection from corruption in the government. These types of authoritative governments will always lead to tyranny eventually, and it's important for the people to have guns because this gives us the power to take back our freedoms. Secondly, the banning of guns will not stop people from owning guns. It will only stop law-abiding citizens from owning guns, and the criminals will have fearless power to commit crimes as they please.
Does it make society safer? Do you
It does. It does. You take a look at, you know, when a state puts in a concealed weapons law, you know, what happens? Crime goes down. It's shown time and time again that crime goes down. You know, I know a lot of people...
In other words, when a state enables people to carry concealed weapons by getting a permit, the criminals don't know who's packing a concealed gun suddenly, and so they get a little more careful about their operations, or hesitant.
The phrase that's thrown out there so much is, an armed society is a polite society.
Since Washington's gun law passed, the murder rate actually increased, even while America's murder rate dropped. It's because guns can also save lives, says Palmer, as one saved his years ago in California.
We were walking down the street, and this group of young men took really strong exception to that. They stood up, 19 or 20 young guys, followed us, and they told us, we're going to kill you, they'll never find the bodies. And I turned around and showed them the business end of a pistol.
Just pulling out the gun was enough to stop them.
Yeah, it works. Merely having a weapon and being able to display it when I was threatened saved my life. One of the things that the gun does is it equalizes unequals. My mom told me when I was a young boy, because she was armed, she was never afraid.
So, gun control isn't necessarily crime control. In fact, the National Academy of Sciences reviewed hundreds of studies and could not document a single gun regulation that reduced violent crime or murder.
If someone gets into your house, which would you rather have, a handgun or a telephone? You can call the police if you want,